All right. So, no, I have not, Kanito. All right. So let's see. Like the last thing I heard about with Haley Welch was her scam coin. That was the last thing I knew about her. And Sketty, place. I haven't even gotten like a promo code. I haven't even reached out to them for like a promo code. No. Yeah, but the last thing I heard about Haley Welch was her scam crypto coin, her meme coin. Yeah, that was the last thing I heard about her. So I'm kind of curious, what the fuck? And that was months ago. That was like, what? How many months ago was her meme coin? It was like 6 months ago at least. So I'm kind of curious, what the fuck happened then that she is done? I am curious, so let's check it out.
Haley Welch, aka the Hawk Tour Girl, is the perfect example of how to lose your entire audience as quickly as possible. From openly taking advantage of her fans, to lying during a Coffeezilla interview and denying any wrongdoing. It's no surprise that all of Haley's social media stats are in the red and dropping fast. However, that decline seems to only be the beginning of Haley's career downfall.
Thank you to all my true fans and all the people that actually watch my stuff and they keep up with me. We're trying to sort out all the pieces and stuff to like get all this figured out and make everything right. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
No, don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry.
I will remind everybody, just as a reminder, Internet Anarchist will probably go over this, but just as a reminder, she literally came to fame because there was an on-street interview. Some YouTuber was doing an on-street interview and asked her about making her man happy in the bedroom. And her response is, you gotta give it that Hawk Tour thing and spin on that thing. That's how she became, quote-unquote, famous. She became famous by saying to a street interviewer, to make your man happy, you gotta spit on your man's dick before you jerk him off. That's how she became famous. And yes, Sketty, she was. I think he's gonna get into the crypto scam. Yeah, she literally took that viral clip of hers and tried to parlay it into a podcast where all she did was talk about herself, apparently, and made a scam meme coin. So, yeah, he'll probably go over her history. We shall see.
Everything's gonna be good. We're gonna be good.
Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today we'll be uncovering the crumbling career of Haley Welch, how she tried to fool the internet a second time, why her interview with FaZe is doing more harm than good, and her horrible comeback causing her to lose 90% of her fan base. Around 2 months ago, I uploaded this video detailing Haley's journey to online notoriety. However, the long and short of it is that Haley is the type of person who can leverage her meme status to build a notable podcasting platform and then throw it all away for a crypto pump and dump.
Hey y'all, it's Haley, and I just want to say thank you for joining my space, and I also want to thank you for my 15,000 holders. We got snipe botted today, but we didn't sell a single token. This is just a launch, and I want to tell you I'm here to stay. The plan is to give these coins to my real fans, the ones that buy my merch, watch my podcast.
Wait, really, Zeb? I don't think I ever heard the theory of people thinking that her fame was artificially generated. That's a new one. I don't think I ever heard anybody claim that. Bear in mind, I don't think it wouldn't surprise me, but I haven't heard that theory yet. Huh. And by the way, listen to this vocal. You think, Skip may be improved? Entirely possible. That is entirely possible that the whole skit may have been pre-planned. Who knows? But listen to her voice on this call. Okay, just listen.
But we didn't sell a single token. This is just a launch, and I want to tell you I'm here to stay. The plan is to give these coins to my real fans, the ones that buy my merch, watch my podcast, donate to my charity. And I also wanted to tell you that I learned a lot along the way. But I just want to say, screw the sniper bots, and I'm not going anywhere.
It sounds AI. Mm-hmm. That 100% sounded AI. And yes, I saw. Okay, well, you know what? Haley, your bullshit story's gonna have to wait. I have a VIP to give away. I have a VIP to give away. Merlin. Oops, I mistyped. There we go. All right, hang up. Tick-a-ding, tick-a-ding. Hang up, make sure I get my spelling proper. Because God knows. There we go. And, okay, Merlin, say something. Say something, gamer. Make sure I did it. Got the right name, typed in your name properly. Come on, Merlin, say something. Just say hi. Merlin, where are you? I want to make sure I got your name and spelled it properly, and I didn't, like, misspell it. Oh my God, is he not gonna talk? Thank you, okay, yay. Okay, we're great. Congratulations, Merlin, on your VIP months. Please give Merlin a key to the VIP room. Congratulations, Merlin. Now, let's get back to laughing at Haley, who can't even make her own announcement about her bullshit crypto coin scam. She actually had to use AI, because I will guarantee you, what we just heard on this conference was AI. Okay? That 100% sounded like AI to me. That was not her. Not even pre-recorded.
Following her controversial crypto project, Haley completely disappeared from social media with the hope that the heat would die down eventually. Well, it seems Haley is ready to test the waters once again. On the 6th of February 2025, a new episode of the Hawk Tour podcast was leaked online, and fans got front row seats to Haley blaming everyone but herself for 40 minutes straight.
How do you feel?
I don't know, I'm still a little shook up about it.
How was the nap?
It was a very long nap. I would say. That's what sucks about it, too. I had to read that off a phone and, like, put it in my words. And I was like, anywho, I'm going to bed.
This is mainly for me, and again, why I wanted to come here and talk about this is because millions of people are going to watch this. Everybody's kind of waiting.
No, hell no. No, she did. Haley Welch did, you cannot equate what Haley Welch did to Cinder. They are completely different. Cinder backstabbed her friends, and she tried to manipulate Nana. Haley did a literal crypto rug pull scam on a meme coin, and burned her community for tens of thousands of dollars. So Haley literally stole money from her own community. It is not the same by any stretch. No, okay, putting blame on others, even that, it is still not the same. Completely different context, completely different situation. I would not equate the two of them out.
Hear what you say. Everyone's kind of waiting to see how this plays out. And 99% of these people don't know shit about crypto. Just
and
like
I'm
you.
one of them.
Just like you.
I'm
Exactly.
one of them.
Exactly.
So
and
then
the
why'd you do a
ongoing
coin, you
joke on
dumb
CT
bitch?
right now is like, if she just did this 2 days after Trump, she'd be okay.
Exactly.
Which isn't necessarily true because of the way it was done. And that's kind of the whole point, right? There's a right and a wrong way to do this. And if you have interest, it's mostly important that your network and the people that you trust to walk into this market are exactly that, people that you can trust.
I think that's where I messed up.
For sure.
Unsurprisingly, the first few moments of the interview were dedicated to disarming viewers by making Haley look like the victim, even going as far as pretending to cry.
Thank you to all my true fans and all the people that actually watch my stuff and they keep up with me. We're trying to sort out all the pieces and stuff to like get all.
Chiro? My guess is, to a degree, she might have been manipulated. I don't doubt that she is not very savvy on the crypto industry. And so I do think that there was some manipulation involved in terms of getting her to do the crypto. But I can't exactly remember the interview she did with Coffee. With the interview with Coffee, she was just flat out lying. It wasn't when Coffee was talking to her that it came out that basically she didn't know what she was talking about. She was very uninformed and would just kind of, to basically just say it, was dumb blonding it through the whole thing. When Coffee did the interview, she lied to him, if I'm remembering the interview correctly. So there is some complicity on her end, but she probably also was manipulated by her people. So she's not, she has blame, but probably not as much blame as, say, other people.
Is giving me a migraine headache the size of the galaxy. She makes all other Sith look like babies in comparison.
See, JRC, that is a missed opportunity. That was a missed opportunity. You should have said giving me a migraine headache the size of the Death Star. JRC, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. This is going to go on your permanent record, JRC. Disappointing!
This figured out and make everything right. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
No, don't cry. Don't cry. Everything's gonna be good.
Wait. Right. I need to hear a voice. I need to hear a voice on that.
Pieces and stuff to like get all this figured out and make everything right. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
No, don't cry.
Let me cook.
Don't cry. Everything's gonna be good. We're gonna be good.
To give the interview some legitimacy.
Chat. Hey, chat. No, I understand and appreciate the fact that it doesn't always come through quite so well with the VC. You guys can hear when I'm talking about something and I'm about to cry. You can hear it in my voice when I'm about to cry. When I'm talking about something that's emotional. Did you hear anything like that come out of Haley just now when she said, "Oh my god, I'm gonna cry"? Do you have anything to indicate that she was on the verge of tears? As someone who has cried on stream more than once, that didn't sound like you were about to cry, honey. That sounded performative. Yeah, making that face isn't working.
FaZe would preface the interaction by stating that transparency was their top priority.
Make sure that we address everything and get through all of exactly what happened. I think that it's really, really important at this point to be totally transparent about everything that happened with you and your partners.
Which means you're about to lie.
Launch and in crypto and what makes this bad and what makes...
Saying it's important we are transparent these days is code for we about to lie about shit. That's actually, they did, this was like a leaked podcast episode. I don't know if this was like a leaked quote-unquote interview. Anarchist said that this podcast was, this episode of the podcast was leaked. I don't know if it's the same thing that you're referencing, though.
makes what Iggy Azalea is doing maybe even good, and what makes Trump's doing different, right? I want to get through all that is doing in this launch and in crypto, and what makes this bad, and what makes what Iggy Azalea is doing maybe even good, and what makes Trump's doing different, right? I want to get through all that. So I brought 2 guys that I live with and do this crypto shit at a very high level. I brought Thread Guy, he's the biggest streamer in crypto, and I brought Frank D Gods, who launched a very successful project last cycle, and he trades at a very high level. He's one of the best trencher trader guys. These guys are really, really sharp, and they know this market inside and out. And most importantly, they have front-facing brands, and their faces are everywhere, and we're all docs, and we all have to.
So they're still trying to do crypto.
Super, super passionate.
Considering the gravity of the situation and the damage Haley had caused to her audience, you'd think she'd put repairing her career over profit. But that wasn't the case. Briefly, 5 minutes into this career-defining interview, Haley shamelessly inserted a sponsored segment meant to further profit off the fans whom she'd already taken millions.
Alright, you guys, I only got 1 sponsor left because there's some real ones and they've stuck with me since every bit of this started. Game Time believes in me, y'all, and I believe in them.
Game Time's more loyal than most of y'all's mans out here.
Yeah, some of those guys just leave at the first opportunity they get. Not Game Time.
Hell yeah, this podcast ain't going nowhere, and neither are them Game Time deals.
Despite openly prioritizing her own financial gain over fans, Haley would describe her reasons for creating and promoting the Hawk token as more altruistic.
So
Explain.
This idea got brought to me like months ago, and I was kind of, I don't want to do that. I don't know anything about it, and I've never heard the space is a good place to be. So I was like, I don't know about it. Which we trusted the guy that come to us. He was a friend of, I don't know, a friend of a friend, I guess you can put him. That was my biggest mistake.
Yeah,
I probably should have looked into him.
We heard a little bit about him. Apparently, he had like a pretty strong network in LA, and kind of used that as leverage to, give himself a vouch. And I think the guy probably...
A fucking crypto bro that lies and boosts themselves to make himself seem important in the crypto industry. Gosh, I've never heard this before in my life. How unusual that a crypto bro is full of shit and is lying about his or her great accomplishments. This is shocking. Who would have thought that something like this could happen? Oh my god. Did I sound real, chat? Did you believe me? Did you believe the emotion in my voice at how shocked I was? Yeah? I swear to God, these crypto bros, like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and hoping hoping to get a different outcome.
Oh no.
Anyway. Oh, shut up, Bastard Nazi.
more or less overstated his qualifications in executing something like this, fair to say?
Yes, which is usually the case.
In addition, Haley threw everyone else under the bus as she painted her former collaborator, Doc Hollywood, as a shady individual and called her critic, Coffeezilla, a scary person to converse with.
Coffeezilla got on there. Scary guy, let me tell you. Don't ever want to have a conversation with him.
We're a little bit more charitable than
Coffee is not scary. Unless you're doing a fucking crypto scam. That's when coffee is scary. The only people that call coffee scary are the ones that fucking run scams. And he busts you for it every which way but loose. He's only scary to scammers. Because if coffee is saying you are a scammer, you all... Okay, let me put it this way. First, Duo Black Rose, thank you for the follow. Coffeezilla is the fucking Baba Yaga of crypto. Okay? That is the best descriptor I can make. If Coffee is talking to you and he says, this is a scam, you can bet with all of your worthless crypto that he's got every scrap of evidence to prove his claim before he even made the call. Everybody that called, whenever Coffee talks to someone, and whenever Coffee talks to someone, he's already done his research, and he's got it in his fingertips. So if he says what you're doing is a scam, guaranteed what you're doing is a scam, and he's got mountains of evidence to prove it. So yeah, he is literally the Baba Yaga of crypto scams. So you're only saying it's scary to talk to him because he caught you, and it probably wasn't even hard for him to do. My guess is catching Haley in the crypto scam was a fucking layup. And he probably didn't even have to work all that hard to gather all the evidence.
Coffee, I think Coffee kind of has a little bit of disdain for crypto in general. Us, on the other hand, we live and breathe it every day. We want to see crypto succeed. We do it every single day. But Coffee definitely, you know what I mean? He's definitely asking the right questions. It's the way that he asks them, maybe, is why you guys can't really,
No, it's no, genius. It's not it's not him asking the right questions. When Coffee asks you a question, he's already got the answer. Coffee will not ask very many questions at all that he does not already have the answer to. When Coffee asks you a question, he's either looking to have you admit to what you did or lie about it so he can call you out and say, no, this is actually what it is.
Yeah.
Find a spot to talk or have any sort of conversation with each other. But we actually did talk to him. We had a conversation with him, and he gave us some broad questions to share and ask you. They're good questions.
Oh, it scares me if they come from him.
No, don't worry about it. Don't be scared.
He's such a scary guy.
Haley's narrative made it out to seem that she was a passive observer who wanted nothing but the best for her fans. But the structure of her business deal with Doc Hollywood tells a different story.
Maria always wants to know is do they offer you money up front, part of the tokens? How did that work?
So the deal, I can speak to that. So the deal that she did was a brand image likeness deal where they paid her $125,000 up front. They were supposed to pay her $200,000 after the launch of the coin within 30 days. She was supposed to have full transparency to tokenomics and everything going on, which they did stay in communication about it, but it just was an ever-evolving game plan, essentially. So back in
ever-evolving game plan means they went flying in by the seat of their pants. If someone says it's an ever-evolving game plan, that means that you're going in without a plan. That means you're Rise of Skywalkering it, where you're writing the plan as you go. That's what that means. Flat the fuck out. Yeah, they went in with no plan. Their plan was, let's get fucking rich. That was their plan.
And participation was to always be mutually agreed, and what they had agreed on in the tokenomics was there was a 10% allocation of the token that would be on a 1-year lock and then a 3-year drip after that. Of that 10%, half of that was supposed to go to the company that created the project and half was to go to her. So out of 100% of the token, she would have had 5% at the end.
Remember this statement from Haley's team? It'll be important later. Circling back, Haley's lawyer claimed that the contract with Doc Hollywood didn't match the tokenomics they were given, and stated the issue was only noticed after the fact.
This kind of all was happening even without you really knowing or having view on any of it until
26? You want an advisor to give you advice on something like this? I can give you the perfect advice on this entire crypto situation. This is all the advice you need regarding crypto. Avoid it like the motherfucking plague. Avoid crypto like the fucking plague. Crypto is nothing but a scam. It started off as bullshit quote-unquote currency that was supposed to take over regular currency. That failed abysmally. So it went from being, this is a brand new form of currency to it's now stocks 2.0. Except the value of it is 1,000 fucking times more volatile. And crypto, you don't own anything. You literally own nothing in crypto. With stocks, you are actually owning shares in a company. So when you own a stock, you actually have a market share of a legitimate physical company. You actually have access to board meetings. You actually have votes in company issues. That is what stocks are. Crypto is basically air. You don't actually own anything. You're owning ones and zeros. It is not ascribed to any business. What am I wrong about, Bobcat? Which part am I wrong about? Because with stocks, you are actually buying into a company. With crypto, you're buying into nothing except an idea. There is no, Bobcat, I disagree. It started off that way. It tried to be that way. The inception of crypto was an attempt to basically be like the dollar. That's how it did start. Yes. In that respect, yes, it did. It tried to start off to be like the dollar. Unfortunately, unfortunately, crypto did not become the dollar like the intention was. The intention was for crypto to basically replace currency. It was going to be the new currency. Unfortunately, it's not replacing currency. And so what it turned into is basically stocks. Crypto, effectively speaking, is stocks. Not in the traditional sense where it's traded like how it's traded on Wall Street, but it is effectively like stock. It's this weird, twisted, fucked up, in-between thing. Where it's, in some respects, it's kind of like currency, but if the other way, it's like stocks. Because the value of crypto is, changes fucking wildly. Okay? With the value of crypto, it is more like stocks. So that's why I don't consider it currency. Because currency will not, the US dollar will not go from $1 equating to, the value of it will not go from, $1 1 second to a penny the next second. It's not that volatile. Well, crypto is. Crypto is ungodly volatile. And that is why I call it stocks, because it fluctuates very much like stocks. Anyway, yeah, it's a rabbit hole. We're getting off topic. Let me steer back on course here.
Post, you're handling the cleanup and trying to protect Haley and trying to do right by Haley now, but you didn't have the opportunity to
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
I negotiated the contract with the company. We have accounting transparency rules and requirements that I added to the contract. SEC compliance requirements I added into the contract that they would have to do as project manager. And so we continued to inquire all along the process about the tokenomics. It was kind of a shifting narrative and explanation of tokenomics. The most recent tokenomics that...
Hey, my sweet fucking God. How many times is this guy going to... How many times is this guy going to say tokenomics? This guy's fucking tism is saying tokenomics. I should be keeping track of how many times he just said the word tokenomics in the last fucking 60 seconds. It must have been at least a dozen fucking times. He's trying to sound smart. It is a buzzword. And he's trying to sound smart, like he knows what he's talking about. That's why every few words he's throwing out tokenomics. Because if he throws out what sounds like a really technical term, all of these chuckleheads are just going to keep bobbing their heads like good little morons and going, oh, I get it. Oh, I understand. You know what you're talking about.
Were given to us prior to the launch had the pre-sale investors being on a 1 month lock with a 1 year drip after that. That's pretty obvious on chain that didn't happen. But 80% of the supply is still in control. The dev still controls 80%.
And who are they?
I do not know who the dev is. That was never disclosed.
The contract already reeks of mismanagement. Tokenomics.
Wait. Am I understanding that correctly that 80% of the tokens are in control by someone who they don't even fucking know who? Like 80, am I understanding that correctly?
After that, that's pretty obvious on chain that didn't happen. But 80% of the supply is still in control. The dev still controls 80%.
And who are they?
I do not know who the dev is. That was never disclosed.
The contract.
So someone is in control of 80% of the tokens that they dumped into the crypto market. They don't even know who. That doesn't sound very good. Yes, I know it was a pump and dump. It was made very clear it was a pump and dump. Coffeezilla came out and said it was a pump and dump.
Contract already reeks of mismanagement. Tokenomics wasn't accurately discussed. Haley's team didn't even know who was creating the product they were shilling. And apparently, most of it is still controlled by unknown individuals. Which leaves a clear question. How on earth did they think the project would work out well?
What was the pre-sale structure exactly?
I'm not certain to the structure of the pre-sale. There was a 17% allocation. Most of the pre-sale investors, my understanding were based in Asia.
Okay.
And there was, again, supposed to be a 1 month lock with a 1 year drip after that.
I wonder where in Asia.
2.8 million.
Despite Haley and her team's grossing competence.
Wait, I talked over that.
1 year drip after that.
And how much was raised for that 17%?
2.8 million.
Despite Haley and her team's grossing competence, FaZe thought the real issue with the token was that people were calling.
Yeah, we're good. You're talking about I think are you referring to when the president of Argentina basically changed over his country's entire economy to crypto? Like he did away with physical currency and basically made Argentina a 100% cryptocurrency for everyone, and it basically tanked and plummeted the entire country into poverty. Is that what you're talking about? Like in terms of the scam? Oh, was that El Salvador? Am I mixing up my countries? I thought it was Argentina that did that, but it was El Salvador that did that. Okay. I am mixing up my countries then. And it worked? Yeah. Well, what was that? What was the president of Argentina scam? It kind of worked. Yeah, it brought the country out of poverty. Okay. I'm kind of sort of interested how it was able to do that. I'm a little bit interested how transitioning a country from regular currency to crypto would bring it out of poverty. Yeah, Zabon, I did get my shit backwards there. I may have to look into doing a rack to see how that worked, how it was able to be beneficial to that. If one of you guys can find a video about El Salvador and how they actually made it work and work properly, drop it in the suggestions. Maybe I'll take a look at it, because I'm kind of curious how they made it work.
It a scam and making crypto look bad.
And then obviously we've seen this story a million fucking times, right? So we more or less know what happens. The issue for you is the millions and millions of people who farmed views off this and made stories about this and covered it. Your average fan, the average fucking middle America 16-year-old kid who's a fan of you, just sees crypto scam, which is, again, another huge part.
No, dude. If Haley has an average 16-year-old fan, they're not looking at her crypto. And the average 16-year-old fan of Haley Welch does not give a fuck about her crypto. There's a couple of other things that a 16-year-old fan of Haley Welch is far more interested in than a meme coin. And I will freely admit, they are very nice. Very nice indeed. And I fully understand and appreciate why they would be interested.
Argentina's president put his name on a crypto token that was launched by the same guy who launched the Melania Trump token, and who then rug pulled both tokens.
Well, given who it was involved, that does not surprise me. Yes, exactly. The average 16-year-old fan of Haley Welch is looking at those admittedly beautiful tits. Revan, no, she has got some very nice titties. I freely admit, she has some nice titties.
Part of the conversation that I'm passionate about, where it's just like crypto already has this bad rap, and it's because of things like this, and it's because the onboarding process is flawed, the barrier to entry is flawed. You probably don't even understand half of what's being talked about right now. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's a real language barrier, and the point is, like, if you have no business in crypto, you probably shouldn't be in crypto.
Even though most of the interview's talking point...
Wait, what did he just say at the end there?
If you have no business in crypto, you probably shouldn't be in crypto.
Even though most of the interview's talking point...
If you have no business in crypto, you shouldn't be in there. I.e., Haley should have never gotten involved in crypto in the first place. He said it.
Points were focused on sympathizing with Haley's poor introduction to crypto. Her co-host thankfully brought up some ways she could help the people who were actually scammed by the token.
But I think if you took all the money that you made from the deal, whatever, and just like bought back the coin and then locked it up, I feel like that's a very like clear action that you can make, back to the community. And I think that would just like stamp it, and the community can run with it. So that's like the idea that we were talking about.
As far as narrative goes and a gesture, I mean, you just fucking nailed that, by the way. And that would, you mentioned it earlier, 125,000 plus 100,000, or what did I hear?
Yeah, so
how much total money has been received due to this?
125,000 has
been received. Yeah. Basically what Frank just said in normal people terms is you take every dollar that you made on this and you mark it by this token and you lock it up. You walk away from it. You don't ever see that money. You can never touch it again. And you say, I'm not going to talk about this every day, whatever, but I'm going to stand on business. I put my face on this. I'm accepting the responsibility that this happened. And hopefully, everybody is made whole at some point.
When presented with such a...
It's sound advice. My suspicion, though, is if she were to do that, she would lose everything. Because don't forget, she's not been streaming. She's been not making money from her podcast. I have no idea if she has another job outside of her podcast. But since the debacle with the crypto coin, she has not done a podcast. So if she was to follow this advice, she would basically lose all her money. And she'd be broke. And I'll bet you that's what's going through her head right now, is if I do that, I lose all my money. Yeah, and Slega, that's the other half of the equation. There's 80% of her crypto is still out there in the wild, owned by someone, and they don't know who. So it's all sorts of fucked up. And right now, you can see the hamster is struggling to keep the wheel going in her head. Like everything is going way above her head. They might be hiding who? Entirely possible. It's entirely possible that they could be hiding who has got the coin. Absolutely. But it's like, this is all over her head. They could basically tell her that the crypto coin is made of blue cheese at this point, and she might just go, oh, okay. This is all so far beyond her head, which is a reason why she should never have got into this in the first place. This is the perfect example of why this was an incredibly stupid idea, that she got into something she did not understand in any way, shape, or form. And now she has no idea how to dig herself out, and what method to dig herself out is not going to fucking ruin her.
A clear way to start undoing the havoc they caused. One would imagine Hayley's team would gladly take the opportunity, especially after they claimed to have good intentions from the start. Unfortunately, Hayley's team had other plans, as they took advantage of the hype around the interview to briefly pump the price of Hawk and sell some of the token. Almost immediately after, FaZe published a tweet completely disavowing the interview, reading, "So in an attempt to hear Hayley Welch's side of the crypto scam story, I agreed to do her first podcast back. I had heavy stipulations, including 1. Not allowing markets to be manipulated by leaking this episode's existence before a resolution was found. 2. Her team finding a real solution regarding the money she made, where that should go, and what to do with the Hawk project moving forwards. These were non-starters, and we were already told this episode would only ever see the light of day if we explicitly greenlit it. FaZe would also expose the reason why the podcast was leaked in the first place. Reading, we noticed a random spike in volume on the coin, along with random messages asking if we did the podcast. Very clearly, her team was not as solid as they claimed to be. Now today, the episode randomly gets leaked, the price of Hawk is pumping, and they completely effing fumbled the bag yet again. What a effing mess. Poor girl. It's a wonder how she found herself in this position in the first place. Now, Hayley Welch, I'm gonna speak to you directly and say the exact same thing I said to you on Spaces that night. Fire everybody, your team's redacted. Once again, Hayley let her greed and lack of concern for fans get the better of her, and just like before, it landed right in Coffeezilla's crosshairs.
Oh, whoa, keep fucking on, baby. They have evoked, they have inadvertently awoken the Baba Yaga, and the Baba Yaga is not happy. Although I am, at this point, I do have to wonder, is Hayley Welch, has she been reduced to a useful idiot? Because at this point, I am kind of inclined to think that with her entire team, that Hayley Welch is just the useful idiot. She is the pretty face on the coin. She is the face woman of this whole thing. And she has no idea what the fuck's going on, and her entire team is just using her. And unfortunately, she's gonna take the brunt of this, because as the face of this whole thing, she's gonna take the brunt of the hit on it. But I do think at this point, she may just be getting used by all the people around her. And yeah, unfortunately, like if she had just stuck with her podcast and grown her podcast, she'd be in a much better position than she is right now. Unfortunately, because she took the dive into crypto, not having a fucking clue how it works, she's probably going to lose everything now.
By the 8th of February 2025, Coffeezilla published a video titled Hawk Tour is Back, which discussed the disastrous state of Hayley's career and revealed some exclusive information about what's been going on behind the scenes.
I got on there. That scary guy, let me tell you, don't ever want to have a conversation with him.
Whoa! Don't ever want to have a conversation with me. Guys, I'm not intimidating. I don't know what's the problem here. I'm Joe Rogan inches tall, guys. It's not a striking figure here you're going to be scared of. If you meet me in person, you're not going to be like, you know? Relax. It's fine. Just get on
Good
the
night,
call.
America or God.
Let's have a conversation. I don't understand. And I also thought this was weird because Haley Welch's lawyer invited me on the show. In fact, like really, really wanted me on their show and kept telling me how much Haley Welch liked me. Hence the t-shirt, you know. I used to like Coffeezilla until he wouldn't come on my podcast. Then he is, you know, Voldemort, and we can't mention him. He's scary. Watch out. Don't talk about Coffeezilla. He's intimidating. Here's the message I got from her lawyer. Haley would like to have you on as a guest on her podcast. You'd be the first guest since the failed crypto token launch and would get significant amount of views, would be very friendly. This guy must not know me. She really likes you. Wow. I thought she didn't want to have a conversation with me. What gives?
While Coffeezilla declined the podcast appearance, he still wanted to know what happened between Haley's team and Doc Hollywood before the token's launch.
First, I don't want to rehab someone's image who scammed people. And I really felt that questions had not been answered that should have been answered, such as, what was the agreement with Haley Welch and with Doc Hollywood? Very simple question, right? Basically, Haley Welch's position is, oh, I was a victim. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how much, I was barely gonna make money, 125K plus like, you know, half of 10% of the tokens locked for a year, like this terrible deal I got taken advantage of by these monsters. Like that was kind of their position. And all I wanted to know was, you know, give me the contract. Show me that that is true. And unfortunately,
nope,
they were not able to give it. He's not in a position to share it, he says. I'm sorry. I said, can't verify anything you say then. Even what you told me about the 50% split, which I had heard Hawk to a girl was gonna make 50% of all the profits. And he kind of told me, no, that's just applies to the tokens. So I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Sketty, that's my suspicion. That's why I said at this point, I think everyone around Haley Welch is using her as a useful idiot. She is a useful idiot to all these people because she doesn't know a thing about crypto. I have no idea how much she knows about business itself. One of you guys said that she is a business major. I have no idea if that is true or not. But she, like, everyone around her is just using her. She is basically not a scapegoat. That scapegoat's the incorrect word, Sliget. Useful idiot is the correct word. They're basically utilizing her. She is basically a straw woman that they can prop up in front of everybody and say, hey, this, you know, you're supporting Haley by doing the crypto stuff, and they're doing all this shit behind the scenes. And they're saying, Haley, we're gonna do this, we gotta do this, we gotta do this, and she's just going, okay, if you say we need to do it, because she doesn't know. She's just kind of going with the flow and doesn't know anything, and they're all just basically taking advantage of her.
maybe she's less of a stakeholder in this than I thought. I don't know.
After this, Coffeezilla explained that he gave FaZe certain questions to ask Haley, since they wouldn't share the contract and stipulated that the podcast would remain a secret until some positive changes were made. As we've already discussed, that condition wasn't met, and Haley's team would claim it was an editing error.
The guys behind it, they said it was an editor mistake. Oh, oops. Yes, the guys who went...
Wait. I push for the Eternal team. Wait, what? The editor the posting. Oh, okay. They did the posting of the leak. Okay, yeah. It's the blame game. They're doing fucking blame game shit right now, which is typical.
Interviewed us thought we may have insider traded the coin, but this guy says he vouches for the internal team, saying it was none of them. And Better, which is Jake Paul's team, I guess, no way they would ever do something like that, guys. Believe us, we will likely never know the info.
Trust me,
the clip
bro.
Posting leak today was an accidental by Better's editor, who had the episode in the YouTube queue waiting on approvals to release. Now, I don't know if this is true or false. I thought the weird thing about this video is that, like, everyone has had, anyone in media who's, like, had a sensitive episode recorded, you don't, like, do all the work if you think it might get canned. Like, obviously, right? These people not only edited the show, they put an ad in the leaked version of the episode, okay? So I'm not saying it didn't leak. I'm saying it's highly convenient.
While the leaked interview might have benefited Haley's team in the short...
Tanashi, you're right. I better get on my editor right now. Make sure that none of my videos get leaked. This is vitally important. I mean, okay, hang on. Let me talk to my editor right now. Okay, editor, listen. You gotta make sure you don't leak anything. This is incredibly important that you don't leak anything. Okay, gotcha. So we gotta make sure that we don't leak anything because we want to make sure we're on the up and up. We are transparent about everything. Yes, that's right. We want to be transparent about everything that we do. And so we can't do any leaks because that could, make all of my fan base look poorly upon me. And I don't want to have to throw you under the bus. Yes, completely understandable. I promise I'm not going to leak anything. Okay, great. We've gotten that all sorted out. Thank God. I was so fucking worried about that. Thank God that's all been sorted out and squared away.
Term, it would ultimately come back to bite them, as it created some very obvious contradiction in their story, compared to the...
Colonel, I swear to fucking God, if you do, I will tick the shit out of you. I swear... If you try and start an Ember coin, I will hunt you down and kick the shit out of you. Do not start any fucking... I know it is. I know it is, Colonel. I know. Do not start a fucking coin in my name. I will disavow it the moment I hear about it. I'm saying it right here and now. Do not put me on a fucking meme coin. Ever.
Evidence from Coffeezilla's investigation.
This is from Doc Hollywood himself, which if you remember is like the key guy. Here he is saying, we'll do best to make it as simple as possible. The pre-sale raise is 50-50 Project Haley. Fees for market making and LP is split between us and Haley 50-50. Now that's a very, very different story than I've been told up until this point. It wasn't 50-50 pre-sale. Like, that's millions of dollars.
Zero. Mods. Heck his crypto wallet. Take it all from him. Right now. I know it's actually not worth anything because it's like fake, pretend, digital, ones and zeros. But I want it. Bring me his crypto. Just so I can hold the non-existent currency in my hand and laugh.
The fees were millions of dollars, okay? Or like $1 million. And that's what I say. The story's very different. This guy says, I think you can safely distrust anything coming from...
Yeah, what Coffee just said there. Hang on. Listen to this.
The fees were millions of dollars. Okay.
Yeah. The crypto coin Haley got what they say was like $120K for the coin, but the fees were in the millions. How is that factoring in that whole buy back the coins? You still had somebody that made literally fucking millions off of the fees from this. So his whole plan of, buy back the coins for $125K to make it right. And yeah, we have no idea who the fuck got the fees, who just made fucking millions off of this. It's all shades of fucked up.
Okay, or like $1 million. And that's what I say. The story's very different. This guy says, I think you can safely distrust anything coming from Doc Hollywood's mouth. He's denying it. He's saying, that's not true. And then he says, look, I just can't have the contract published online, willing to let you see it with your own eyes, and saying that's why he was going to let me see it on the podcast. I said, well, these messages were prior to the failure of Hawk to a coin. So I don't understand why would Doc lie? Like, this isn't him saying it to cover himself later. It's him like talking in a chat with other insiders back then.
Naturally, Haley's team denied the evidence and tried to cover it up with a different explanation.
Haley would benefit from such a bad contract if what you said is true. And this is really how I feel. Half of 10% of tokens plus 125K makes 0 sense for someone who's bringing in all of the name recognition. Like, you're bringing the whole thing and you're getting this like measly piece of the pie. It doesn't check out. Like 125K is a lot of money, but they made like $4 million. So
yep.
Then he says this, the contract says she was paid 125K on signing, 200K within 30 days.
Hello, Second Drago. Hello, Raiders. Welcome in. Welcome in. How was stream? You're catching us on the tail end of basically, I was not expecting it to be this, but apparently delving deeper into the crypto scam for Haley Welch's Hawk coin. I did not realize going in this was going to be a crypto thing, but apparently it is. But I hope you had fun playing Repo, and welcome in, and please enjoy with the rest of us this mind fuck of a story. Because this is all shades of fucked up.
The contract says she was paid 125K on signing, 200K within 30 days of launch. Interesting. We didn't know that. And 50% of the net proceeds of the project with mutually agreed upon tokenomics. The tokenomics we agreed to were for half of the 10% of the tokens.
Again, this motherfucker loves saying tokenomics. I don't know if this is the same guy that was talking off screen on the podcast. In 3 sentences, he says tokenomics in every fucking sentence. Every fucking sentence. Within 3 sentences, he's saying tokenomics.
Now, I want you guys to realize that what he just said is backtracking on what he's been saying the entire time. Which he's been saying the entire time, oh, it's just 50% of the 10%. 50% of the tiny amount of tokenomics we're gonna need. No. What he's saying here, finally, he's giving us the real story. It's 50% of the net proceeds of the project, period. That is completely different from what they've told me. And so I say 50% of the net proceeds does not mean half of 10%. It means 50% of net proceeds, which is market making, pre-sale. This is like $4 million that they talked about. And I don't know if he's just trying to play dumb here, but he goes, we were told by the man that MM fees and pre-sale funds were going to be used to run the project.
This led Coffeezilla to the conclusion that they were downplaying their profit because it would likely implicate them legally.
And I'm just trying to say, like, you guys aren't the victims. I hope you guys are understanding that this is kind of my feeling.
Okay, Sergeant Drago, have a wonderful night. Thank you again for the raid.
And that's just not true. Like, that's not what they stood to make. I said, what do you mean? You told me I could disregard what Doc said. Remember, he said, oh, you can disregard it. But y'all literally had a contract for 50% of net proceeds. Doc himself said the project was going to cost a few $100,000. If that's the case, pre-sale 2.8 million, fees 1 million, made almost $4 million. Y'all are contractually owed like 1.6 million. And then I shared another insider text I have from Doc Hollywood, where he says, what we can do is put a hard number to the side for the project as cost. Like, we spent a few $100,000 on the project already. That money will be paid back to us off top. Then the profit is paid out. If a few $100,000 is what it costs and the profit's paid out, who's the profit entitled to?
That.
Talk to a girl. That's who it is. And we're all being gaslit about, like, oh, I'm the victim. I stood to make no money. Wrong. You wanted to make no money after.
Wait. So that's why they made the suggestion, pay back the 125 or 225 grand to the people that bought the coins, because they made fucking millions off the fees. Possibly including Haley. Like, all the money that they made was from those fucking fees. So the 225 is like the 125,000 plus there was like an additional like 100,000, I think, that they said, like, pay that back to the people that bought the coin to make them whole again and then lock up the coin. She still made fucking millions off the fees and shit. And that's probably why they suggested it. Is because she still made fucking millions off this pump and dump. And God only knows how many more millions she made when the coin got pumped after the contract leaked. Or after the episode leaked.
You realize the money is like being scrutinized and being sued over and possibly being looked into by law enforcement. Like, we don't know.
Seeing no other way of denying it, Haley's team would admit that they were entitled to some of the profits, a revelation that discredited everything they said on the podcast.
You're right that as it stands, she may be entitled to whatever amounts. However, she was supposed to have mutual approval on tokenomics. Her not being given the opportunity to approve the transaction fee SAFs and pre-sale identities led to the end result. So literally he's admitting that he's been not telling the truth about how much money they stood to make. You're right, she may be entitled to millions of dollars from a scam? Like, what?
Regardless of what Haley and her team say, the fact of the matter is that they were willing to act dishonestly with the people who were trying to help them remedy the situation. They only care about the fans when it bolsters Haley's public image, and they would have gladly taken the profits from the token if it didn't come with the possibility of jail time. Fortunately for Haley, she isn't going to have to worry about facing any legal consequences, as the SEC would drop their charges against her the following month. Her attorney gave TMZ the following explanation for the investigation's closure, reading, "The SEC closed the investigation without making any findings against or seeking any monetary sanctions from Haley. Because they did not bring any action against her, there are no restrictions on what she can do in regards to crypto or securities in the future. With her legal troubles out of the way, Haley must have felt that she could put everything behind her and return to her usual podcast uploads. Sadly for Haley, the internet wasn't going to let her off the hook that easily. On the 8th of April 2025, Haley uploaded the 16th episode of the Talk To Her podcast and brought on KSI as the main guest.
Okay, well, welcome back to another episode of Talk To Her. It's been a hot minute since we've been back here, but now we're the official owners of Talk To Her. And we may or may not have flew to London to get a very special guest for you. We got KSI.
Yo, live in the flesh, baby.
It was one thing to shamelessly crawl back to the audience you stole from, but it was another story to give them one of the most uninteresting interviews on the internet.
Yeah, I think it's better if I'm alive and healthy. Health is the most important thing. You know, more than money, more than family, etc. Yeah. Because, you know, if you want to be there for your family, you gotta be healthy. So,
gotta be good.
Yeah.
You ever think I could box?
Would you want to box?
I actually do want to box.
Really?
You gotta give her some tips.
Yeah, I need some tips.
He's not an interviewer. That's okay. Haley Welch at best. At best. Oh, David, stop it. You're gonna make me just months. Go steal David's Little Caesars and bring it to me. I want that Caesars. Right now. Anyway, she's not even fangirling, V-Dog. I honestly don't think she's fangirling. She's trying to revitalize her podcast. And she's not an interviewer. Haley Welch, at best, is what I do. She is at best a yapper. She is not someone that can interview another person. She can do at best what I do, which is just talk about stuff, maybe stuff that's interesting to me, maybe stuff that is enraging to me that I want to talk about, maybe learning about new things, and I'm like, okay, this is cool, you know, gushing over new, fun, interesting stuff. That is what she can do. Like, I am not someone that, like, I'm not an interviewer. I would not say, oh, I'm going to interview someone. Like, if I created a podcast, I know that I would not be, thank you. I appreciate the confidence you have me, but I know that don't know if I make a good show host. I don't feel like it's in my wheelhouse to basically lead a show and bring on guests and talk to guests and be able to interview them and make, do something like I don't feel like it's in my wheelhouse because I just talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. I react to stuff that I think is going to be interesting. It's that's very different from interviewing someone. If I was to have like a guest come onto my stream for me to quote unquote interview, I have no fucking idea what I would say or how I would go about doing it. It's like if I were to have someone come onto my stream and we would just like yap about what the fuck ever, sure, I could do that. But interview someone, no, I know I can't. And I can tell you right now, she is not an interviewer. That is not within her skill set. If she just brought someone on to just yap with and to just bullshit with for an hour, kind of like how the unsub guys do, where they just kind of, they do have guests on that they will like quote unquote interview, but where they just like yap for 2 hours. That's different. So that was her mistake, is she actually tried to be an interviewer and she can't interview.
Throughout the interview, Haley and her co-host barely asked any worthwhile questions, and completely relied on KSI's presence to carry the interview, something fans were quite willing to point out, with a comment reading, "When the guest has to carry the conversation on a podcast, you know it's cooked." Overall, the video was poorly received by users, with thousands of dislikes and one of the lowest view counts on her channel despite having such a high-profile guest. However, the negative reception didn't stop Haley from releasing another episode a few days later. Unfortunately, the outcome would remain the same, if not worse, with a commenter stating, "She got a taste of success on the internet, ruined it with shitcoins. Now she's gonna be chasing getting 10k views on a video until she says fuck it and starts an OF." Haley clearly wanted to have her cake and eat it too. Even after milking her audience with a scam coin, she still thought it would be possible to return to them and be welcomed with open arms. Unfortunately, things don't work that way on the internet, and no matter how much Haley desperately wants to prolong her 15 minutes of fame, it truly seems her time is up. If you enjoyed this video and want to watch more like it, make sure you subscribe right now.
Yeah, the funny part is if she had just stuck with her podcast and didn't go into the shitcoin, she might actually be doing okay. She's probably still trying to find her feet in terms of doing a podcast. If she hadn't wasted all that time with the coin, have to disappear, yeah, she might have been okay with just the podcast. It might have, she might have been able to develop the podcast, develop her style, be mildly entertaining, have a small but respectable audience, and done okay. But she didn't. She made the wrong call. She basically tried to sprint before she could even walk. And now she's crawling.